Ivana Smit was a tall, charismatic, and vibrant model with diverse talents. Her hobbies included football, netball, yoga, and going to the gym. A rising star, she participated in numerous international beauty competitions, such as the Face of Beauty International 2014, where she represented her country with pride and charm. This tragic case took place in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, within the luxurious Cap Square residences. Nestled between iconic landmarks like the Petronas Twin Towers and the upscale Surya KLCC shopping destination, this high-experienced apartment complex catered to the affluent. Its modern amenities, such as a swimming pool, gym, lush gardens, and spa, coupled with its tight security featuring 24/7 CCTV and controlled access, made it a seemingly safe haven. However, the serenity of this upscale complex was shattered by the shocking discovery of a young woman's body. On December 7, 2017, a resident returned to his sixth-floor apartment to find the wooden canopy of his balcony shattered. Amidst the wreckage lay the naked body of a young woman, her stiff, unnatural pose, arms crossed over her chest like an Egyptian mummy, immediately raised questions. Authorities identified her as 18-year-old Ivana Smith, a Dutch model with a promising future. Investigators discovered that Ivana had entered the building earlier that day with a wealthy American couple, Alexander and Luna Johnson, who lived on the 20th floor. CCTV footage revealed the trio entering the Johnsons' apartment around 5:44 a.m., but no further signs of Ivana leaving. When police first knocked on the Johnsons' door, there was no response, despite sounds coming from inside. Hours later, Alexander and Luna answered the door, claiming ignorance of Ivana's fate. Ivana Smit was born on January 4, 1999, in Limburg, Netherlands. Of Dutch and Chinese-Indonesian descent, she grew up in Penang, Malaysia, where her grandparents lived. A diligent and disciplined individual, she was fluent in 4 languages: Dutch, English, Mandarin, and Malay, and excelled in music and martial arts, even earning a black belt in Taekwondo. Her modeling career began at 13, and by 18 she was walking runways and appearing in high-profile photo shoots. She dreamed of becoming a Victoria's Secret angel. Ivana had recently befriended Alexander and Luna Johnson, who lived an extravagant lifestyle. Alexander, a cryptocurrency trader, and Luna, an educator, described their relationship as progressive, openly admitting to engaging in intimate encounters with others. Ivana and Luna had developed a close connection, but their relationship took a tragic turn. On December 6, 2017, Ivana joined the Johnsons at a rooftop bar, followed by a late-night visit to another club. CCTV footage captured them returning to the Johnsons' apartment in the early hours. According to Luna, the trio continued their night with drinks and intimate moments. Ivana's boyfriend, Lucas Kramer, last heard from her through text messages and a selfie she sent around 7:24 a.m. By the afternoon, Ivana's lifeless body was discovered, sparking questions and controversy. The Johnsons claimed they had been unaware of her fall and suggested she might have accidentally tumbled from their balcony. However, inconsistencies in their statements, as well as signs of injuries and toxic substances in Ivana's system, raised suspicions of foul play. A second autopsy in the Netherlands revealed bruising on her head and the presence of a dangerous drug, PMMA, in her system, substances not initially reported in Malaysia. This drug, known for causing severe physical reactions, cast doubt on the Johnsons' account. The position of Ivana's body, combined with limited blood at the scene, suggested she may have already been deceased before her fall. Malaysian authorities faced criticism for their handling of the case, including their decision to rule Ivana's death as an accident within just 1 day. The Johnsons, meanwhile, fled to the United States and refused further cooperation. Despite a court ruling reopening the investigation and naming the Johnsons as suspects, they remain out of reach due to extradition complexities. Ivana's family continues their fight for justice, supported by international experts and public outcry. The case remains a chilling mystery, with unanswered questions surrounding the events leading to Ivana Smith's untimely death. In the wake of Ivana's tragic death, her family was devastated and adamant that the circumstances warranted deeper investigation. Their initial interactions with Malaysian authorities only added to their grief and frustration. They were asked to sign a document acknowledging Ivana's death as non-criminal in exchange for the release of her body, something they refused to do. Convinced that foul play was involved, they sought an independent autopsy. Upon returning to the Netherlands, the second autopsy, conducted by Dr. Frank van der Goot, revealed critical discrepancies with the initial findings. A significant bruise on Ivana's head indicated an injury likely sustained before the fall. The presence of PMMA, a drug not commonly associated with recreational use, added further questions. This, combined with alcohol and cocaine in her system, pointed to a lethal combination that might have incapacitated her before her death. Dr. van der Goot's analysis also suggested that Ivana's body had been in rigor mortis before the fall, a chilling indication that she might have already been deceased when her body went over the balcony. Adding to the suspicions, male DNA matching Alexander Johnson's was found under Ivana's nails and within her body. While authorities argued that this was consistent with prior consensual contact, it nonetheless painted a troubling picture of her last moments. The bruises on Ivana's arms and legs, unexplained by the fall, raised further doubts about the Johnsons' claims of ignorance. The balcony from which Ivana allegedly fell also became a focal point of scrutiny. Investigators noted that it would have been challenging to accidentally tumble over due to the presence of barriers and furniture. For her to fall, she would have needed to climb or be forcibly pushed, both scenarios contradicting the Johnsons' account. Despite these glaring inconsistencies, Malaysian authorities initially ruled her death an accidental fall, citing intoxication as a contributing factor. However, Ivana's family and international experts challenged this conclusion, accusing the authorities of negligence and a possible cover-up. The Johnsons' quick departure from Malaysia shortly after the incident and their refusal to cooperate with further investigations only fueled public suspicion. The case took a turn in 2019 when the Malaysian Supreme Court overturned the initial accidental ruling and reopened the investigation, naming Alexander and Luna Johnson as potential suspects. This decision was a small victory for Ivana's family, who had spent years battling for a fair examination of the evidence. The court acknowledged that the possibility of foul play could not be ruled out, particularly given the new forensic findings and inconsistencies in the timeline of events. By this time, the Johnsons were residing in Miami, Florida, far from the reach of Malaysian authorities. Despite an Interpol Blue Notice being issued, the lack of an extradition treaty between Malaysia and the United States complicated efforts to bring them back for questioning. The Johnsons maintained their silence, issuing no public statements but claiming to be the targets of online harassment and threats. Ivana's story gained international attention, drawing comparisons to high-profile cases of alleged cover-ups involving powerful individuals. Her family, determined to uncover the truth, enlisted the help of prominent figures like British investigator Mark Williams Thomas and lawyer David Wells. Together, they compiled an independent report that strongly suggested Ivana's death was not accidental. The report highlighted several troubling aspects of the case. The compromised crime scene, which had been cleaned by the Johnsons' housekeeper before forensic examination. The inconsistent drug test results for the Johnsons, with the initial positive test for drug use being mysteriously overturned. The lack of urgency and thoroughness in the initial investigation, raising questions about possible corruption or undue influence. As the case unfolded, public pressure mounted on Malaysian authorities to hold the Johnsons accountable. Meanwhile, Ivana's mother, Christina Verstappen, filed a lawsuit against the Malaysian police for mishandling the case. The lawsuit alleged negligence, including the failure to secure the crime scene and prematurely ruling Ivana's death an accident. In October 2024, Malaysian authorities issued a renewed Interpol Blue Notice, signaling their intent to locate and question the Johnsons. The case also returned to the High Court in Kuala Lumpur, where Christina Verstappen's lawsuit was under review. Speculation swirled about whether the case would lead to an out-of-court settlement or set a new precedent for accountability in cases involving foreign nationals. The tragic death of Ivana Smith remains a haunting reminder of the complexities of seeking justice in cases involving powerful individuals and international jurisdictions. For Ivana's family, the fight is far from over. They continue to demand answers, determined to honor her memory and uncover the truth behind the events that led to her untimely death. The fight for justice continues. Despite the reopening of the case and the Supreme Court ruling acknowledging potential foul play, the road to justice remains arduous. Ivana Smith's family, particularly her mother, Christina Verstappen, has tirelessly pursued accountability. Their battle has not only been with the Johnsons, but also with systemic flaws in the handling of the case by Malaysian authorities. Allegations of negligence and corruption. The family's lawsuit against the Malaysian police underscores the procedural failures that plagued the initial investigation. Key allegations include crime scene mismanagement. The Johnsons' apartment was not immediately secured after Ivana's death. Evidence, including broken glass and potential forensic clues, was cleaned up by a housekeeper before investigators could conduct a thorough examination. Premature conclusions. The police ruled Ivana's death an accident within a day, despite the absence of a complete forensic investigation or consideration of the injuries that suggested foul play. Influence and bias. Testimonies from officers revealed possible pressure from higher-ups to close the case quickly, with one officer describing her experience under the police chief's orders as hell on earth. These lapses have fueled suspicions that local authorities may have been swayed by the Johnsons' wealth and influence, raising troubling questions about corruption. International advocacy and media attention. The involvement of international advocates like Mark Williams Thomas and David Wells has amplified global attention on the case. Their independent report, which challenged the official narrative, has become a cornerstone in the fight for justice. Among its key findings: injury analysis. Dr. Frank van der Goot's autopsy revealed bruises and injuries inconsistent with an accidental fall, suggesting that Ivana may have been assaulted before her death. Toxicology report. The presence of PMMA in Ivana's system, a substance with dangerous and unpredictable effects, raised questions about how and when it was ingested. The report noted the Johnsons tested negative for drugs, casting doubt on their claims of innocence. Timeline discrepancies. The timeline of events provided by the Johnsons did not align with forensic evidence, further suggesting a cover-up. The Johnson silence. Alexander and Luna Johnson's refusal to cooperate with Malaysian authorities has only deepened the mystery. The departure from Malaysia and relocation to Miami shortly after Ivana's death has been viewed as an attempt to evade accountability. The couple has consistently avoided public statements, except for brief interactions with journalists in Miami, where Luna claimed they had faced harassment and threats. Notably, the Johnsons were accused of using their financial resources to influence the case. Their request for and receipt of a second drug test, overturning the initial positive result, has been criticized as an example of how wealth and privilege may have played a role in the investigation's outcome. Renewed legal action. In October 2024, Malaysian authorities issued a new Interpol Blue Notice to locate and question the Johnsons. While an extradition treaty between the United States and Malaysia exists, its application in this case remains uncertain due to the complexities of international law and the high-profile nature of the suspects. At the same time, Christina Verstappen's lawsuit against Malaysian authorities continues to gain momentum. The case has drawn international scrutiny, with many calling for reforms in how such cases are handled, particularly when they involve foreign nationals and potential misconduct by local officials. The legacy of Ivana Smit. Ivana Smith's death has become more than just a tragic story. It has sparked conversations about justice, accountability, and the vulnerabilities faced by young women in positions of trust. Her story has resonated worldwide, drawing attention to the potential dangers of power dynamics and the systemic flaws in law enforcement and judicial systems. As her family continues their quest for answers, Ivana's legacy lives on as a symbol of resilience and the fight for truth. For them, every step in this battle is a step toward ensuring that no other family has to endure the pain of losing a loved one under such mysterious and unresolved circumstances. Broader implications of the case. The tragic death of Ivana Smith has highlighted broader issues that extend beyond the immediate details of her case. Her story has become emblematic of the challenges in navigating justice across international borders, the vulnerabilities of young women in elite circles, and the systemic flaws in law enforcement practices. The vulnerability of young women in high society circles. Ivana's story sheds light on the precarious position of young women in high society environments. As a model frequently mingling with affluent and influential individuals, she was exposed to a world where power dynamics could easily be exploited. Her connection to Alexander and Luna Johnson underscores the risks faced by young women who may trust individuals who outwardly seem friendly or supportive but may harbor ulterior motives. Ivana's case serves as a reminder of the importance of safeguarding vulnerable individuals in industries like modeling, where networking often places young professionals in intimate or high-risk settings with powerful figures. Failures of law enforcement and judicial systems. The mishandling of Ivana's case by Malaysian authorities has drawn sharp criticism. Key failures, such as the mismanagement of the crime scene, premature conclusions, and a lack of transparency, point to systemic issues in how investigations are conducted. This case has reignited calls for reforms, particularly in forensic standards, ensuring that all cases, regardless of the victim's nationality or background, are investigated with rigor and impartiality. Accountability in law enforcement, addressing potential corruption or undue influence that can compromise the integrity of investigations. The role of wealth and privilege in influencing legal outcomes has also been highlighted. The Johnsons' ability to secure a second drug test and their apparent immunity from immediate scrutiny reflect a troubling disparity in how justice is served. The challenges of cross-border justice. Ivana's case exemplifies the difficulties of seeking accountability across international jurisdictions. While Malaysia reopened the case and named Alexander and Luna Johnson as suspects, the couple's relocation to the United States has complicated efforts to pursue legal action. The lack of clear mechanisms for enforcing international cooperation in such cases leaves victims' families in limbo, often relying on public pressure and media attention to keep their loved ones' stories alive. This case underscores the need for stronger international protocols to address crimes that involve expatriates or foreign nationals. Greater collaboration between countries is essential to ensure that justice is not hindered by borders or bureaucracy. Conclusion: a quest for justice and closure. For Ivana Smith's family, the pursuit of justice is far from over. Her mother, Christina Verstappen, continues to lead the charge, supported by advocates, legal experts, and public sentiment. Their fight is not only for Ivana, but also for systemic change, to ensure that no other family has to endure the heartbreak of unanswered questions and unaccountable suspects. Ivana's case has left an indelible mark on the international stage, drawing attention to the vulnerabilities faced by young professionals, the pitfalls of flawed investigations, and the need for accountability, regardless of wealth or status. While her family mourns the loss of a bright, talented young woman with dreams of conquering the modeling world, they remain steadfast in their mission to uncover the truth. The reopening of the case by the Malaysian Supreme Court and the renewed Interpol Blue Notice offer a glimmer of hope. However, the journey toward justice is fraught with challenges, particularly as the Johnsons remain out of reach in the United States. Public and legal pressure will be essential in compelling further cooperation and ensuring that the full story of Ivana's final hours is brought to light. Ivana Smith's tragic fall from a luxurious balcony in Kuala Lumpur is more than a mystery. It is a call to action. It demands that systems of power, privilege, and justice be scrutinized and reformed. As her family continues their fight, the world watches, awaiting not only justice for Ivana, but also a resolution that restores faith in the pursuit of truth and accountability. The global impact of Ivana Smith's case. The case of Ivana Smit has transcended the borders of Malaysia and the Netherlands, sparking global conversations about justice, privilege, and the treatment of foreign nationals in legal systems. It has brought to light critical issues that resonate far beyond the specific circumstances of her tragic death. Raising awareness for victims' rights. Ivana's family has become vocal advocates for victims' rights, pushing for greater transparency and fairness in how cases are investigated and prosecuted. Their persistence in challenging the initial ruling of accidental death has inspired other families to seek justice in similar circumstances. The case also highlights the importance of independent oversight in investigations, especially when the parties involved include individuals of significant wealth and influence. Many have called for international monitoring bodies to ensure that cases involving potential misconduct are handled impartially and without interference. The role of public pressure and media scrutiny. Media coverage and public attention have played a pivotal role in keeping Ivana's case alive. Documentaries, investigative reports, and news articles have consistently highlighted the inconsistencies and unanswered questions surrounding her death. This spotlight has not only pressured Malaysian authorities to reopen the case, but also brought international scrutiny to the justice system. Social media has been a double-edged sword in the case. While it has helped garner widespread attention and rally support for Ivana's family, it has also led to harassment and threats against the Johnsons, complicating efforts to ensure a fair and unbiased investigation. The need for legal reforms. Ivana's case has exposed critical gaps in the legal and investigative frameworks in Malaysia and other countries. Among the key lessons are: better handling of crime scenes, the contamination of evidence in the Johnsons' apartment undermined the integrity of the investigation. This has sparked calls for stricter protocols in securing and processing crime scenes. Transparency in legal processes. The initial rush to classify Ivana's death as accidental, despite conflicting evidence, has raised questions about transparency and accountability in the Malaysian legal system. Protection for foreign nationals. Ivana's case underscores the vulnerabilities faced by foreign nationals, particularly women, in unfamiliar legal systems. Greater support and safeguards are needed to ensure their rights are upheld. Extraterritorial justice challenges. The Johnsons' relocation to the United States has brought the challenges of extraterritorial justice into sharp focus, while international notices like the Interpol Blue Notice signal a willingness to pursue the case. Actual enforcement depends on the cooperation of the United States. The lack of a clear extradition process for cases like this has fueled frustration and uncertainty for Ivana's family. This case has prompted renewed calls for stronger international agreements to address crimes involving expatriates or foreign nationals. Advocates argue for clearer protocols that prioritize justice over jurisdictional hurdles. A legacy of hope and change. Ivana Smith's case is a stark reminder of the fragility of justice in a world shaped by power dynamics and systemic inequalities. Yet, her story also serves as a testament to the resilience of those who fight for truth and accountability. Her family's unwavering determination to seek answers has become a beacon of hope for others navigating similar battles. As the legal proceedings continue and new developments unfold, Ivana's family and supporters remain focused on their ultimate goal: uncovering the full truth of what happened on that fateful day in December 2017. Whether through court rulings, international advocacy, or the power of public opinion, they are determined to ensure that her death is not forgotten and that her legacy contributes to meaningful change. In the words of Ivana's mother, Christina Verstappen, "We will not stop until we know the truth. Ivana deserves that, and so does every family fighting for justice.